Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen. In the quaint English village of Longbourn, a tale of love, wit, and societal expectations unfolds. It is here that we meet the spirited and intelligent Elizabeth Bennet, the second of 5 daughters of Mr. and Mrs. Bennet. The Bennet family faces a precarious situation, as their modest estate is entailed to a distant male cousin, Mr. William Collins. With no sons to inherit, their future is uncertain, and marriage becomes a necessity for the Bennet daughters. The arrival of a wealthy and eligible bachelor, Mr. Charles Bingley, at the nearby Netherfield Park, stirs excitement in the village. Accompanying him is his aloof and aristocratic friend, Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. Mrs. Bennet, eager to secure her daughters' futures, is keen on uniting them with suitable suitors. Elizabeth, however, is no ordinary young woman. She possesses a quick mind and strong opinions, and her spirit clashes with the prideful demeanor of Mr. Darcy. At the Netherfield ball, Mr. Bingley takes a liking to the eldest Bennet daughter, the amiable Jane. But his sisters and Mr. Darcy look down upon the Bennet family's lack of social standing, leading Mr. Darcy to discourage Bingley's attachment to Jane. Meanwhile, Mr. Darcy's dismissive behavior and haughtiness only deepen Elizabeth's unfavorable opinion of him. Despite the societal expectations and her mother's scheming, Elizabeth refuses to marry merely for financial security. When she crosses paths with Mr. George Wickham, a charming military officer, he recounts a tale of mistreatment at the hands of Mr. Darcy. This further solidifies Elizabeth's negative view of him, and she feels drawn to the affable Mr. Wickham. As time passes, Mr. Bingley's affection for Jane grows, but his sisters intervene, forcing him to leave Netherfield and break Jane's heart. Elizabeth, unaware of the manipulation, cannot comprehend why Mr. Bingley would abandon her sister. While she is preoccupied with Jane's situation, her own life takes an unexpected turn. Mr. Collins, the pompous and obsequious cousin, proposes to Elizabeth. Despite her family's encouragement, she refuses, unwilling to marry without love. Mr. Collins then turns his attention to Elizabeth's friend, Charlotte Lucas, who accepts his proposal, believing it to be a pragmatic choice for her future security. Amidst the turmoil, Elizabeth receives an invitation from her newlywed friend, Charlotte, to visit her at the estate of Mr. Collins, now the rector of Hunsford. There, Elizabeth is astonished to encounter Mr. Darcy once again. During her stay, she finds herself unwittingly drawn to him despite her initial contempt. In a moment of vulnerability, Mr. Darcy reveals his true feelings to Elizabeth, declaring that his affection for her has overcome his reservations about her social standing. However, Elizabeth's wounded pride and lingering prejudice prevent her from accepting his proposal. She instead accuses him of interfering in Jane and Mr. Bingley's relationship, which Mr. Darcy vehemently denies. Distraught, Elizabeth returns home, only to receive a letter from Mr. Darcy. In it, he explains the truth behind his actions, revealing the treacherous nature of Mr. Wickham and the concern he had for his friend, Mr. Bingley. This revelation humbles Elizabeth and forces her to confront her own prejudices. As Jane's heartache eases, Mr. Bingley, prompted by Mr. Darcy's regret over his past behavior, returns to Netherfield and rekindles his affection for Jane. The lovers find solace in each other's arms, and their engagement brings joy to the Bennet family. Elizabeth, now enlightened and with her pride tempered, visits her aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner, in the fashionable town of Derbyshire. There, fate intervenes once more, and she encounters Mr. Darcy on his vast estate, Pemberley. The encounter is delightful and surprising, revealing Mr. Darcy's true character and his devotion to her. As Elizabeth's heart softens toward Mr. Darcy, he seizes the opportunity to propose to her once more. This time, she accepts, realizing that love transcends societal conventions. The couple's union brings not only personal happiness but also a newfound respect between the different classes. In the end, Pride and Prejudice is a timeless story that teaches us to look beyond initial impressions, to value true love and integrity, and to overcome our own pride and preconceptions. Jane Austen's masterful portrayal of characters and her astute observations of human nature have secured this novel's place as a beloved classic, capturing the essence of romance, society, and the human spirit.